3, 2, 1. Needle pod.
Needle pod. That was our
We're
best
back.
one.
It's like an echo. We're back, and it's
We're
been a
here.
while. I've missed our microphone sessions, Ellie.
I know.
It's the middle of the summer. You're in the clinic right
Well-
now today, but both of us are coming back from a vacation recently. I mean, mine was all week last week. Little pontoon vacation in Wisconsin, where I'm from, splashing around in the lake, bobber fishing with the kiddos. Great time. Where have you been?
I have bopped around, visited family down in Durango for wedding and 4th of July. And then we were just in San Diego last week. First trip to the beach for the kids. It was really fun. We lost a couple keens. So my daughter has tan colored keens. Don't recommend bringing tan shoes to the beach for a girl that doesn't wear shoes often. But get this, we lost them on Monday or Tuesday. We found one the next day at night. Couldn't find the other one. Found it the next day. Found it 2 days later. So we are back on. It was the best part of the trip was finding the shoes.
Just washed right up.
Yep.
I feel silly asking. Are Keens like Crocs? Are those like...
They're like a Tiva, but they're closed-toed. So they're like a water shoe, but they have a lot more straps, and they're like approved for school wear, where like some schools don't allow open-toed shoes. So it's a sandal that you can get away with. So
my 3-year-old loves his little Crocs. And he actually doesn't love sport mode, which is where they're like, he loves having the heel hook and obviously the little dinosaur charms on it. But
yeah,
maybe we'll graduate to Keens someday.
Yeah, I only ever buy kids shoes on sale. So because they're so Crocs are so expensive for what they are. It's crazy, but yeah, Keens are good.
Wisconsin, I mean, our whole family was there. And like any family get together, did you bring your needles, Paul? Do you have your needles? And so I needled my brother. And I mean, he's had needling before from me, but also is working with actually Pat, one of our physical therapists in the Columbus area. So he's been working on it. So obviously I oblige, but I guess I'm used to it, but I want to ask you, and I'm really curious, all the needlers out there, like, do you just always travel with needles and or stim in your bag? Like, are you that accustomed to people asking you for a session real quick?
Yeah, definitely in the past, couple years, I've started, it's really easy. I mean, you don't have to bring a ton of stuff, right? And I was driving, which was nice for at least my family part of it. And so, brought my stim unit. I use a tackle box when I travel with needles. So it has slots for every needle size, which is great. And then I use I know you have your huge Medi bag, but I just use a iPad case for the ES160. And there's a pocket that I got that from April Dominic. Shout out to April.
Nice.
There's a pocket for the cables and then a nice, full padding cover for the stim unit, and then a portable sharps container. I'll always bring something like that. But yeah, brought it down to Durango, needled. My sister has pelvic floor dysfunction, pelvic pain. So we in the process of potential diagnosis with endometriosis and things like that. So we did some abdominal dry needling for her, which was awesome. My brother-in-law has recurring chronic compartmental syndrome. He had this surfing injury 20 years ago and has really weird fascial stuff in his anterior leg. So hit those when I was in Durango. And then my mom and I went on a run. So this is going to lead us to our next topic. We were at sea level in San Diego, so we went really fast, and she strained a hamstring. So we did that when we got back from San Diego. And then I was chatting with you earlier. My brother has cluster headaches, which is a different headache presentation that I'm not, it's not muscular driven like we see a ton in the PT world. But he was going to a pain med doc in Fort Collins. So he was visiting for a couple of days, and we did some needling for that too. So yeah, lots of needling while traveling.
Nonstop family needling.
Yeah.
And we had a kind of an offline conversation. Maybe we'll mic up once we've done some research, and maybe if you have a chance to treat your brother on the headache side, because I think that deserves a separate podcast. But yeah, let's touch on I think what you were mentioning, which is there tend to be summer specific injuries. I mean, we're in the middle of the summer. You're full time in the clinic. I used to be, but just the summertime brings some different stuff. So I'm kind of going to ask you what you see, but I asked ChatGPT first, and it gave me a list of summer injury bingo statements. And I want you to either confirm or deny how accurate they are. So the first one is, obviously, this is a patient coming in and patient saying, I played pickleball for the first time. So are we seeing a spike in pickleball related injuries, or maybe I did it for the first time type injuries in the summer?
So what's hard is Colorado this year had the worst winter. So people have been doing summer sports since mid-February. But pickleball this year for sure has increased. We actually, one of our employees did like a whole social media post on pickleball injuries and like how to work on that agility, because that's something that a lot of us don't do lateral movement in life. And that's all pickleball is, right? So we definitely seen some increase in like plantar foot pain with pickleball. I personally haven't seen lateral ankle sprains or anything like that, but I'm assuming that would be the case with pickleball.
Yeah.
And then we actually had a bone stress injury. So we were treating proximal symptoms for those and doing some differential diagnosis, and then referred her out for imaging, and she had a bone stress injury. So
interesting.
But all pickleball. Yeah.
Because, the pickleball injuries I've heard of, friends, family, again, I'm not full-time in the clinic right now, are more of the acute sprains. And it's ankle sprains. But interestingly, and I guess I haven't played enough pickleball to know how common this is, but I've heard it more than once from my small sample size, wrist sprains. Like if you're hitting the ball wrong or it kind of catches you funny, you get a little like wrist sprain, and it presents not kind of like the dull, achy, like tendonitis overuse. It's like more sharp, startling, impingy type stuff. I've talked to 3 people, and I mean, they're doing wrist wraps and wrist bands. Like they want to keep playing, but they're almost afraid to hit it because every once in a while they just catch it wrong and get that sharp sprain.
Let's talk about pickleballers for a sec. They don't want to stop. They want to
mentally
keep
unstable
going.
humans, which I mean, that's half our, we just lost half our audience. It's the most popular sport in the US right now, but
yeah, they don't want to stop to let things rest. You're like, which we don't need to in a rehab setting. Like we should always be able to modify, keep people moving, all of that stuff. But at some point, like with this patient that had a bone stress injury, we told her to take 2 weeks off to see if it would help. And she couldn't do that. And then she ended up in a boot for 6 weeks. So
man.
I know. But that's interesting you say that, because you haven't played much pickleball?
Not much. I have played
I've only played it once. And it was at the Onward Owner Summit last August, which was a blast. But
if you had to rate your pickleball game, A+ to F, where you've only played once, but you're an athletic human.
B-.
Okay. I could
C+, B-. Like I'm not going to fail. I think my competitive spirit is what takes over.
Totally.
It's not my agility. Like my agility, I feel like I'm working on it now, but the past 2 years has definitely gone bad. So which I think is a lot of what it is. But what's interesting about pickleball is the ball is so much like lighter and is less speed than a tennis ball. So I agree with you. You're not seeing as much of like the lateral epicondylgia things that you would get from eccentrically loading with a tennis ball, right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting that, I kind of get like it's probably more of the flick of the wrist that you don't see as much in tennis because it's more of like a rigid.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Which,
what would you need? What would you need for that?
I was just going to say, if that wrist thing perked up your ears out there, and you've seen it as well. I mean, if you've taken our upper needling course, the only red, meaty, muscle pumpy mass of the distal radial ulnar complex is pronator quadratus. So, I mean, one of them did seem to have almost like a Quervain's component where extensor and abductor pollicis were involved, but just for that wrist pain, almost of any sort. But when it is more of like the distal radial ulnar, like the TFCC type wristwatch pattern pain, pronator quadratus should be on your list for needles and stim.
And then speaking of TFCC, extensor carpi ulnaris attaches into the TFCC complex. So that would probably be one I would target too. So
love ulnaris.
But yeah, I love that. I love pronator. Cool. Next up.
I'm going to combine a few. Again, this is from ChatGPT Summer Injury Bingo. 1 is we went hiking in sandals. 2 is I slept in an Airbnb bed. And 3 is I carried my cooler one-handed. But I think I'm putting them in the bucket of like, basically we went on vacation, did something that you were ill prepared for, whether that was physically or even, sleeping in a bed, not having the shoes. Are you seeing your folks go on vacation and come back with some stuff?
For sure. And the beds, I think, is the biggest culprit, or even just the travel, the planes,
Airplanes
we were
sitting
talking
still for
about
8 hours?
traveling with kids, like
Man,
carrying all the things. Like for sure, people will come in with a kink in the neck, CT junction. I feel like dysfunction there. I see that low back pain for sure has spiked. The plantar foot pain, shoe wear, like you said, sandals, or even if it's not sandals, but it's shoes that they've worn for the past 2 years, it's like, let's just get some shoe wear, right? Because
I'm
I
nodding
mean,
along, but you should have seen the shoes I brought to Wisconsin. I mean, I knew I'd do a little training, but I also knew I was going to be in a lake. There was going to be worms and fish on the pontoon. I brought my old trainers, but they are now my lawn mowing shoes. So I
yeah,
brought the
Brian
worst.
brought the same things to San Diego. He's like, I can jog in these. I can go to the beach in these. I can do all this stuff in these. And they got sopping wet one of
You
the
don't
days. I
want to
can't
ruin
remember
your
what we were
nice
doing.
trainers on vacation. So
He brought them tide pulling. He was wearing these trainers. So that's what I'm talking about. Is like they bring one or two pairs of shoes that they can get away with a lot of stuff on, right?
yeah,
And
for
usually
sure.
it's not their best shoe. It's like one that's the bottom of the barrel shoe. So for sure, plantar fasciitis or plantar foot pain, my top two, like if I could get into QP, that's where I'm going to, like that clears up so much stuff. If someone's had needling in the past, and especially if they've had foot needling in the past, I'll go there right away. Like abductor hallucis, quadratus plantae. If they haven't, we'll come up the chain, right? Hit gastroc soleus, Achilles tendinopathy probably goes along with that too. But it's an and not or thing. It's talking about footwear. Like you got to talk about the footwear for those folks. Be like, you're dumb.
For sure. And now that I say that, I assume I'm not alone. I mean, most of my fitness when I'm home is gym based, CrossFit style, but you have weights, you have all the toys to play with. When I'm on vacation, I immediately default to like, well, I guess I'm going to run, which I hate doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm wearing my lawn mowing shoes and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to go run 4 miles, which I never do. I mean, I rarely run higher than or longer than 800 meters. So I think, yeah, there's layers to it. And maybe lots of folks are like that. And it's a positive thing. Maybe they're used to sitting at their desk all day and now they are hiking or they are moving all day. It's positive,
Mm-hmm.
but you just have to admit some tissues, some capacities aren't ready for that.
Well, that leads me to the like my mom and I I've been running a little bit more. I've been doing high rocks training. So I started running more consistently in June. And I'm finally at a point where running feels fun, which is like, I didn't think
Man,
I'd ever say that again.
never experienced that.
But my mom is a runner. She was a professional runner when I was growing up. So running is her sport. So we're working on the strength training side of things. But we were at sea level and we brought her running shoes, like our good shoes, but we went a minute faster than we normally run. And she strained her hamstrings. So we talked a little bit about tissue capacity too, of like, hey, if we strength trained a little bit more here, we might improve that tissue capacity. But yeah, we just needled it and did some like soft tissue work with it and it cleared it up literally in the next day. It was a low grade strain, so it wasn't like no pooling of blood anywhere.
Personally,
But
I love treating hamstring strains, and I think that'll come up later. So I'll save my
yeah.
thoughts on that.
Okay.
Okay, my next two I'm going to combo together. It says, I helped my neighbor move, or I pressure washed my driveway. But I mean, there are summer tasks.
Chores.
There's yard
Yeah.
work, there's summer specific things. People probably are moving more in the summer, like
Yeah.
moving homes, packing up boxes. So what summer specific
In
yard work?
Colorado, it's yard work. And we're on a voluntary water restriction. It's not mandatory, but so people are doing all the maintenance on their sprinkler systems and things like that, where they have to get into all these like weird positions and do
Kneeling,
digging
digging.
of things that they've not done before. So I've definitely seen like on my patients that are restore and perform that come in every month, those are the people that'll have like these tweaks and they'll come in and we'll treat that. So example of that was, someone was like kneeling bent over for a long period of time and they were getting TLJ, like pain in TLJ area. So yeah, manipped, needled, but yeah, I haven't seen like no moving, which here we get a lot of like college students moving in and out during the year, but
Yeah.
those people have so much tissue capacity, those
Yeah. I
youngins.
had a job as a mover in grad school. And yeah,
Really?
I mean, great fitness. Your body can handle it. But yeah, I would not want to try it now that I'm 42. I mean,
No.
lifting
Yeah.
big stuff, trying to squeeze it down staircases and
Stairs.
not ideal body mechanics. So that one made sense for me. All right,
Cool.
last one, and it's kind of coming full circle, but it says my kid wanted me to race them. And then if I'm going to make up more similar is like I subbed on my friend's bar league softball team, but we're kind of back to like you have not sprinted, you have not maybe broken stride in 6 months, and then for whatever reason you thought you could just take off on that 100-meter sprint like you're in high school and you strain something, and it's almost always a hamstring, but there's hip flexors and calves, and so it is that acute muscle strain, that weekend warrior type thing.
Two of them that happened this summer. One is our employee,
Sam.
Andrew Overstreet.
Mm.
Yeah, and not Sam. He was a baseball player. So he plays like a softball league. And it was his quad, actually. And I think it was the
Mm.
deceleration, like
Practice.
slowing down. Yeah, yeah. But so he did that, has been rehabbing it kind of on his own, but been needling it and stuff like that. And then I see in the mom world, so the pelvic world, kids are exploring outdoors more. There's streets. So what do they have to do? They have to sprint after their kids that are crossing or like going towards the street, right? So I've seen that in another patient, and it was Achilles irritation or calf irritation.
Yeah.
So did some nice calf needling. Haven't gotten down to the tendon, but that would be the next kind of progression of needling if it
Yep.
doesn't clear up.
I like
So
that.
yeah,
Well,
cool. That
that's what
was
I had for
fun.
bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Have
I
you
guess since
injured
we're
yourself
talking,
this summer?
no, I mean, knock on wood, I'm feeling pretty good. The
That's
cervical
good.
radic is tame. I mean,
Good.
honestly, fully endorse consistency in the gym and, intense training, but I'm traveling less this summer on purpose. Like I've been doing 5 to 6 CrossFit workouts a week for a couple months. I have to admit, it felt kind of nice to take kind of a deload week. Like the body,
Mm,
I mean, constantly feeling stuff when you're training, like that pinchy shoulder, that the Achilles gets a little revved up, like all low grade stuff. A lot of that kind of calmed down. Still, we did some body weight workouts in the morning, and we were in the lake all day. So, I mean, we're still active, but that did me pretty well. And I mean, I
yeah.
think maybe pushing into 6 workouts a week is just too much in general, but
Well, I think that's the hard thing about like you were saying, like you're having this deload of work travel and you're like, oh, this is a great time to pick up where I left off and like do all these things. And I think I love CrossFit. Don't get me wrong. I've not been doing it as much this summer because kids are home and the schedules are hard and can run from home, right? But but I think sometimes like there's a good program. And I'm not here to talk about programming. That's not my expertise. But if you look at like the macro cycle of CrossFit, like there's not a ton of built-in deloads, right? Especially in
right,
like a group fitness setting because everyone's going to be coming and going at their
totally.
have different vacations and stuff like that. So I do think that like building that into our lives is necessary of like, hey, in 2 months I'm going to take a deload week, and I don't think we're good at that
Yeah.
necessarily.
Which is
So
fascinating because to combine those two thoughts, my summer, my actual clientele, the NFL guys, it's like
mhm,
they deload. I mean, when the season's over, they fully unplug a lot of them. Like they go to Cabo, they do their trips, they mentally and physically recover. And now we're kind of building back up. Now, I mean, for those that are in mini camp, they're in mini camp where you're training every day, but it's lighter. So honestly, there are kind of the minor sprains and strains, but it's lower than you'd think until they really start revving up in preseason
yeah,
and all of that. So it's still kind of been it's interesting for the needling sessions because we're kind of straddling in the season, we're full recovery mode. So we're still kind of in recovery mode as training ramps up, but we do a little bit more of the neuromuscular priming, and we couple the sessions like right before training versus after
cool.
recovery.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a different realm. I guess we're still talking sprains and strains and kind of triaging some of that stuff, but it's almost less, I don't want to say passive, but it's a different lens for the needling sessions for those folks in the summer.
Which is cool because I think, like you said, I feel like you got into that world from more of a like, I'm the needle guy, I'm the recovery guy, or like that's what I do. But it's
Yeah.
cool to show them how much more like what how powerful dry needling can be with all of these different
Yeah.
aspects too, right?
And
So
what's cool
that's
to see
pretty
is,
cool.
I mean, these guys have all the tech. Like one of the guys
Hmm.
has the Kaiser machine. Like he can do his squat workouts and he can see output. I mean, session to session, week to week. And I would never take all the credit with the needling, but it's cool to
Yeah.
see that output changes. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on when they do it and depending on when they do it relative to the needling session. So I mean, obviously, if you've taken one of our courses, you get it. There's a neuromuscular change, which is typically positive and changes movement patterns and output. But it's really cool to get some objective data for that.
Yeah, for sure. It would be really cool. We should maybe talk about it on like this fall as their season ramps up, how your needling strategy and things like that does change over
Totally.
the season and even their like year macro cycle too. I mean, we're kind of touching on it right now, but I think a lot of people are fascinated by what you do in the NFL world. So that would be fun to just dive deeper into.
Let's do it.
Cool.
But we can wrap today. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
cool seeing you. It's been a while. Hopefully, it's not
Yeah.
as long till we get on again.
Hmm.
I guess to pump probably the podcast that'll
Yeah.
drop after this. Brandon Wen, he's here in Seattle, Onward Bellevue. He's one of our dry needling faculty with Ice Physio, but Onward Physical Therapy was the medical team for the CrossFit
We were
Games.
the official physical therapy partners. That's what was what we were allowed to say. So
That's
the official
awesome.
physical therapy partners for the CrossFit Games this year. Yeah. So we had a
And
huge
what that
team
meant
out there.
was you were on the medical staff, or they had
Yeah.
medical during the games. So we're going to touch on
Yep.
that, and that'll be dropping soon. So a little
Yeah.
teaser
That'll be
for you.
super cool.
But
Yeah.
Elli,
Awesome.
thanks for jumping on.
Yeah.
Till next time.
See you then.